Welcome to the Astrology Show with your host, Kelly Fox. Each week, Kelly will give you access to the current transits that are a valuable tool which provide astrological information to help unlock the potential each of us has through our sun sign. Understanding the current planetary influences each week can help steer us in the right direction to make better informed choices. Sometimes, events in your life may seem completely random, but there is a pattern to the order of these events, one set in motion in part by you, and in part by the planets and stars in the sky and their influence on your life here on Earth. So if you're wondering what's going to happen in your week ahead, if you're going to get that promotion, move to a new city, or fall in love, tune in to the Astrology Show for guidance. It can help you anticipate problems before they occur, give you tools to cope with changes, and help you look forward to the wonderful days ahead. Kelly Fox is a professional astrologer and internet pioneer who launched astrology.com, one of the first and most successful astrology websites. Today, her passion lies with her new site, theastrologer.com, where she brings a modern-day approach to an ancient wisdom. Please join Kelly each week to learn more about how the planets can align for you.
Hi there, and welcome to the Astrology Show. I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox. And this week, the astro headline is the super new moon in Taurus. So most of the show, I'm going to be talking about the super new moon and how that will be affecting your sign. And I'm going to be breaking that down into pieces, as I usually do. I will also be covering the other astrological influences of the week, and they are all to do with the sun. And then at the end of the show, like always, your weekly horoscope. So, the astro news of the week, the big news, is the supermoon. So there's been a lot of press around the supermoon and what it is, and there's been a pop song around it. There's been lots of talk in the media about supermoons and what they're doing and what's happening. So this week on Thursday is the supermoon, super new moon in Taurus. So in 2016, this year, there are 6 supermoons. Now the first 3, March, April and May, are all new moons, and then at the end of the year, they're all full moons. So I'm going to break it down on what a new moon is and what a new moon in Taurus means, and then what it means for you. So when we have a new moon in Taurus, or really any sort of Taurian influence, it's a time to slow down and think more about what we're doing, what steps we're taking, particularly around finances. Now, finances and money and possessions, that's the theme for this week. It's all about money. So with the influence of a new moons are about new beginnings. So new beginnings around money really is what it all boils down to. Also, with this influence of the new moon in Taurus, it's about mulling over more practical concerns of living and life. So instead of rushing about like we've done the past month or so with a lot of the Aries influence, now we're at a time with a lot of Taurus influence. And so what that means is life slows down. We can think straight, we can plan ahead, we can plan further ahead, we can take one step at a time in a practical measured approach. This is also a time to work hard, but at the end of the day, we want that time off. It's like once it hits 5 o'clock or whatever time you finish, it's time to go home and enjoy the sensual side of life, using our senses to the fullest. So it's We can work hard, but we get the rewards later. The other thing about this influence this week of not just the new moon in Taurus, but Taurus in general, Taurus is a sign that's all about security. So we need to feel secure. So make sure that there's security. We feel a sense of security around us. And I'm not just talking making sure there's iron bars on the windows at home, but more about what is our financial security, what is our emotional security, and so on. So it's a time to think through practical steps, put one foot in front of the other, and we also might need to consider our longer term plans. Also, if we're looking to make some extra money, how do we go about doing that? And this is a time to think about, if you need some extra money, how can you do that without burning the candle at both ends or breaking your back trying to just bring in some extra bread. So it really is all around finances this week, and maybe because Mercury is retrograde in Taurus, it's also a time to perhaps restructure our budgets or rethink, because if you remember from last week's show, when I was talking about Mercury retrograde, it's all about anything that starts with an RE. So redo, re-edit, repurpose, restructure. So with the influence of Mercury retrograde in Taurus, and Mercury does rule commerce, so it fits in quite nicely with the theme of Taurus with finances and money. So this is a great week to reevaluate your budget or your finances or your savings account and have a look and see if you can not tighten it up, but be more practical. If there's a lot of money that's being spent that's unnecessary or unneeded, or you can find something of more value somewhere else, this is definitely the time to do it. It's a time to increase your cash flow and, little treats here and there. Taurus likes to indulge, but indulge in a smart way rather than just indulge for the sake of it and living way beyond our means. It's a time to really, you've put money aside, and now is the time to be rewarded for doing that without having to raid your savings account. So it is a really great time to start a new monetary strategy. Also, as I said, that Taurus, the influence of Taurus is very sensual. It's a great romantic time as well. The Sun's in Taurus, Mercury, Venus. So it's a really nice time for romance and anything that's sensual. So where our senses are heightened at this time. So that's touch, taste, sound, smell, anything that arouses the senses is a very good use of this energy. And as I said this week, the Sun is making some very upbeat and positive aspects to some of the heavier planets. And I'll cover that a bit later, but yesterday the Sun was forming a sextile to Neptune. Tomorrow it's forming a trine to Jupiter, which is extremely auspicious. And then on Saturday, the Sun forms a trine to Pluto. Again, it's all about money. And the reason it's all about money is because the Sun is in Taurus, which is a money sign. And these influences that it's making to these other planets are in earth signs. And the earth signs are all about money. The earth signs are the money signs. So the other earth signs, or the earth signs being Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So this really is probably the most influential week of the year for money and finances. So be sure to make the most of this planetary influence, or these planetary influences this year. With the super new moon on Thursday, that means that the moon is closest to the Earth, so it's going to look, well, it's a new moon, so we're not going to be able to see it, but it's closest to the Earth, And typically when it's been a full moon on a supermoon, the moon is very, very large. So, of course, with a new moon, we can't see it. It's going to be completely black in the sky on Thursday. But it does mean that in the moon's orbit around the Earth, it will look a whole lot bigger than usual at this time. So a supermoon, as I said, there's been a lot of hype around supermoons and what it means. And the technical term for a supermoon is perigee, and it is when the moon is closest to the Earth. There is an opposite term for that, when the moon is further away from the Earth. And so that means that the moon, when we look up in the sky, when it's not a new moon, so we can see it, it looks a whole lot smaller. So this year there's going to be 6 supermoons, and we're at the last of the first batch right now. So March, April, May, we've had new moons or super new moons. And then the super full moons are October, November, and December. And that's when we'll really be able to see this huge moon, huge full moon. And the effects are usually on the tides, which they are normally on a full moon anyway, because the moon does control the tides. But when there's a super moon, the tides are more affected. So there is something to be said. It's not just, oh, the moon looks bigger. It is actually doing something at the same time. So this super new moon that we're having on Thursday in Taurus, this is an excellent week for finances and anything around possessions or money, reviewing your financial strategies, looking to how you can make more money, or cutting out what's not working, because this is a time for practical concerns. After the break, I will break it down and explain more about the super new moon in Taurus.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hey ladies, do you want to have that good hair day feeling all the time? Gentlemen, would you want your special someone to have that glow, letting you know she is feeling completely satisfied? This feeling and that glow can be yours by embracing your sexual power. So join me, Rachel Kenley, award-winning romance author, on the O-Spot. The O-Spot will guide you to that peak with guest interviews, book discussions, and conversations on the thrills of sexual empowerment. Put the zing back in your life. Come up and see me sometime on the O-Spot, live on Hump Day at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Are you wondering what is really going on behind the news? Check it out. Join your hosts Cielito Pascual and Diana Gold Holland on Share on the Air Radio for thought-provoking views behind the news, Sundays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio. You can also find us on shareontheairradio.org. This may be the message of hope you've been waiting for. Check it out.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hi there, welcome back to the Astrology Show. I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox. This show, we're talking about the super new moon on Thursday. There's been a lot of hype around supermoons, and what do they really mean? Well, the moon is closest to the Earth during a supermoon, so that would make sense that it would have more effect, as it does on the tides. But how about on our emotions? Because according to astrology, the moon is to blame, and I say that with a smile on my face. The moon is to blame for our emotions. So moon is about emotions and feeling and nurturing and day-to-day life and how we take care of ourselves and how we were taken care of and how we take care of others. So with the influence of this supermoon on Thursday, the new moon in Taurus, that is all about finances. It's also about self-worth. Now, the thing with the energy of Taurus, and we do have some planets at the moment in Taurus, so we are in the season of Taurus. So Taurus is about money and possessions, but it's also about when you move further into it, it's about self-worth. It's how we value ourselves. It's not just what we place a value on, but how we value ourselves. So it's an interesting way to look at things from a point of view where, someone might have a big house and a fancy car. Well, do they put a high value on what they think they're worth, or do they do it to compensate what they think they're not worth? So it's a time when this may come up for a lot of people, particularly as Mercury is retrograde in Taurus. It doesn't mean it's a negative, it's more food for thought. So to break down this supermoon on Thursday, I want to take a step back and I want to look at the pieces of it. So the first piece would be this supermoon on Thursday is a new moon. And so a new moon usually presents an opportune time for new starts and beginnings. But here's the thing. Many of us want to leap into a new start or a new beginning. It's very exciting. Forget about all the old stuff and just get started with the new. But there's always a but. So what we need to do before we can launch straight into our new beginning or dive straight into it is to have an ending or a completion. So basically, a new moon represents endings and beginnings. So we need to wrap something up or finish it or complete it before we can move into the new cycle. Very important when we're dealing with finances, because this is the week, probably one of the best weeks of the year for finances, with all this Taurian energy and especially the new moon in Taurus. It's also a great time to be practical, to think long term and to put one foot in front of the other and to continue with whatever it is, the project you are working on, until it's finished. So the new moon is basically, if we look up in the sky will be black, except for the stars, obviously, but there'll be no moon in the sky on Thursday, so there's nothing that we can look up to, like with a typical full moon where we can see the moon is just a round circle, or nearly a round circle. This new moon, or any new moon, is completely black in the sky. So with a new moon, it's like there may be feelings or desires brewing within us for some sort of change. So new moons are all about change and starting anew. It's a time for planting seeds, for birthing new ideas and starting afresh. And creatively speaking, inspiration can be residing somewhere just beneath the surface. So it's like a time to plant seeds or to make those changes. It's not necessarily a time to rush out and have action or make things happen. It really is a time for just taking baby steps, one foot in front of the other. when it comes to the cycle of the full moon, that's the time that we give birth to whatever it is that we're doing. But the new moon really is about just the very tip of the cycle, the very, very beginning. It's a time to pay attention to our dreams because the moon is very much controlling our emotions, but it's also it's a very feminine energy according to astrology. It's probably the most feminine energy, and it's very intuitive. Now, the moon rules the sign of Cancer. Cancer is a very instinctive sign, and it's the sign of the mother. So it all ties in nicely that paying attention to home and family and having new beginnings around home and family, particularly to do with finances, this is a great week for that. It's a time for forging a new path. So also with the new moon, it's a time to evaluate the various areas of life that we'd like to make changes or put energy into. Anything that's a habit, a bad habit, like quitting smoking or stop biting our nails, this is a great time to do it as well. Yes, because the new moon's in Taurus, it's about finances primarily, but as I said, it's also about our self-worth. It's like if we have any bad habits that we want to shake or get rid of, this week is definitely a time to do that, because the energy of Taurus is about self-worth and who do we think we are and do we deserve what we have. We may desire something, but do we think that we're worthy of getting it? That sounds pretty heavy, and it is, and that's what this energy can be about as well. It's also a great week for any sort of business undertakings or starting any type of business right now. It's a very good week for that. So the new moon usually represents anything that we need some inspiration for or ideas that can generate movement and starting something new and different. It's a good time to open ourselves up to possibilities. So we put that first seedling into the ground and see what arises. Now with this new moon in Taurus, which is this Thursday, it's a time to slow down our energy level as we mull over more practical concerns of living in life. So as I said before, it's about working hard, but also enjoying what we have, having gratitude, taking time to smell the roses. It's a time to reap what we sow, to start afresh, and really focus on what we want and what we're going for. It'd be a good idea to make a list of items that we might need to feel secure, because Taurus is all about security. It's about comfort. And to have a list that we could manifest from of what we want. It's a great time with this Taurus new moon to be bringing in some extra money through a second job, investments. Anything around finance. Restructuring the budget. It's a great time to brainstorm ways to increase cash flow. And it's not a bad time to indulge in occasional luxuries. When I think of Taurus, I think of the senses being heightened. And sometimes we put those things, those small luxuries, on hold because many of us are working so hard to pay the bills and put a little bit aside, perhaps, if there's anything left over. But this is also a time for rewarding yourself. And it is about hard work, but it's also about treating yourself and your own self-worth and what you deserve and what you've worked hard for. So it's not all about hard work. It really is about being rewarded as well. It's a very romantic influence this week. Lots of romance, and be sure to let those people around you know how you feel about them. And our senses are heightened, most definitely. So with this Taurus super new moon on Thursday, I'll go through what it means for each of the signs and what it means for you. So if you're an Aries, this Taurus new moon is all about money and finances. And it is anyway, but for Aries more so. It really might be a time to think about making the purchase that you've been wanting. But that aside, Mercury is retrograde in Taurus. So on one hand, it's like this is a great time for spending money, making money, changing financial strategies. But on the other, take care with making purchases, because with Mercury retrograde, there could be some sort of confusion or misunderstanding around any sort of commercial dealings. So it is important to take care, but it's also important to reward yourself. So with Taurus, if you're a Taurus, this new moon is all about changing your appearance in some way. And that could be through a hairstyle or wardrobe update or even a cosmetic procedure. But this is all about making a change to your appearance. And particularly because the Sun, Mercury and Venus are all in your sign as well. And it might be a time to go back to a way that you used to look. So when we come back from the break, I will explain what that means, because that sort of, it sounded a bit strange, but you'll understand after the break.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes.
Live with medium Lisa Phoenix, Mediumship Messages and Musings, explores mediumship and all things metaphysical. Lisa Phoenix invites you to reach above and beyond your everyday experiences, to explore new dimensions in the spirit world. She will do live readings to connect callers to their loved ones in spirit, shares engaging stories and teachings from her own personal experience, and will have intriguing conversations with other mediums, spiritual teachers, and healers to help you understand the metaphysical world so you can connect to these forces in your day-to-day life. Join your host on this magical and metaphysical journey into the world of spirit every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
What if living didn't have to be so serious?
What if you could move beyond your problems with greater confidence and ease than you've ever imagined?
Throw your labels out the window and join the Irreverent Therapist for practical tips and a very different way of approaching the changes you would like to create.
Marilyn Bradford,
and Pam Hodling
have empowered hundreds of people to come out of self-judgment, quit looking to experts, and begin to create the lives they desire.
Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Irreverent Therapist Show.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hi there and welcome back to the Astrology Show. I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox. And this week's show I'm talking about the super new moon in Taurus on Thursday and how that is affecting your sign. I only got to Aries and then we took a break and I was talking about Taurus and I sort of left you hanging in a good way. But what I was saying for Taurus is this new moon for you this week is all about making a change to your appearance. So if there's something that you can do, and I'd mentioned something from the past, which sort of made me laugh as I was saying it, because when I think of a look from the past, I'm thinking not necessarily 80s retro or anything like that, but perhaps a hairstyle you had previously that worked and you look great with, and it might be time to go back and consider something similar or something that worked for you in the past because of the Mercury retrograde in your sign may work again once more at this time. If you're a Gemini, this super moon will be really triggering your intuition and your subconscious mind. So it's important to listen to your dreams and your instincts and your gut reactions. Very important. Now, you're a very cerebral sign, so paying attention to, I guess, the feelings rather than the logic might be a little bit of a challenge, but it will pay off with this sort of influence. If you're a Cancer, this is around connecting with friends and tapping into your network to really get some new things going. If you're looking to start something new, because you probably are as a cardinal sign, and cardinal signs like to be initiators and start new things. If you're a Leo, this is new beginnings around your career. So this is good news where you can start something new that maybe you've been hoping to. Could be something from the past, because Mercury is retrograde and that represents things from the past as well. If you're a Virgo, new beginnings around travel or anything that's far away or overseas. This is a great time to make changes in that sort of in the area of travel or publishing or any sort of legality. So it's a great week for that. Libra, this is about money for you. It is for everybody, but you more so. So this is about shared money. So it might be a question of what's yours, what's theirs, what's ours. So it's important to know those distinctions. If you're a Scorpio, this super new moon is all about relationships. And if you're single, you might meet somebody. So it's important to be open to connect with others. And this super new moon in Taurus is a great time for meeting new people. If you're a Sagittarius, this is a great time to focus on diet and fitness. Diet and fitness under the influence of the Taurus supermoon. So this is not about sitting back and putting your feet up and eating bonbons while you're watching your favourite show. This is about getting out there and making some changes to your day-to-day routine. If you're a Capricorn, this is about romance for you. And if you're single, even better. This is all about meeting somebody new. Courtship, romance, love, children, taking a risk. That's what this super new moon is for you. If you're an Aquarian, this is about home and family and new beginnings around home and family. It could be that maybe you might want to change your relationship with some family members, as probably many of us would like to or should. this is an opportune time for you to make those changes around home and family. If you're a Pisces, this new moon will help guide you to speak up for what you want. So this is a time for asking for what you want and being heard and people taking notice with the things that you say. So this week is not just about the super new moon. It's a busy week for the sun. The Taurus sun is very busy this week, and it's connecting with not just the moon. The sun and moon come together or sit next to each other in the heavens from our perspective here on Earth, and that's what a new moon looks like. But the sun is also making a few other positive aspects to some of the outer planets. So the theme continues with money and possessions along with self-worth with these influences this week. So the influences this week that the sun is making, is yesterday the sun formed a very nice sextile to Neptune. And so what that means is that the sun is about the self. It's about the core of who we are. Neptune is a planet, an outer planet that's very creative. It's very intuitive. Anything that's ethereal falls under the domain of Neptune. And a sextile brings opportunity. So sun sextile Neptune yesterday, it will affect all of us, but the earth and water signs more so in a good way. And the earth and water signs are Taurus, Cancer, Virgo, Scorpio, Capricorn, and Pisces. And so what this influence means is that there's a soft undercurrent, a lot of spiritual energy in the air this week. Many of us might find ourselves in a dreamy, sensitive, compassionate mood. It's a great time for any sort of charitable work, anything that involves brainstorming or helping others. It's a great use of this energy. It can also be a very romantic energy. Now that also falls in with the theme of Taurus. Now the sun is in Taurus anyway, which is one of the romantic signs. But when it comes together with Neptune, it can make it very spiritual. It's like romance is there, but it's taken to the next level. Extremely spiritual, romantic. We're attuned much more to our dreams and visions. So pay attention to your dreams and visions. They might shed some light. And even though some dreams and visions can be quite cryptic, this week they might be a bit more obvious. But it might be a little bit hard to focus or concentrate because our head might be in the clouds. So instead it might be best just to go with the flow and take advantage of this radiant, soothing, healing energy. Listening to music or viewing art or going to see a movie. Some way to tap into any sort of creativity is a great use of this aspect. Creative expression, meditation, any type of spiritual practice are other wonderful ways to nurture our souls at this time. We might also feel more connected to our fellow humans and to the non-physical side of life. There might be some sort of serenity. You know, if we can stay calm, breathe deeply, being reverent. Selfless compassion is very favourable. So that's the sun forming a sextile to Neptune. I feel even calm just talking about it. Tomorrow, Tuesday, the sun will form a trine to Jupiter. And when I saw this in my ephemeris, I was very excited about this aspect because this is one of the most auspicious aspects in astrology is when the sun forms a trine to Jupiter. It's wonderful. And it's really around money and luck and finances. the Sun forming a trine to Jupiter, falls in Earth signs, Sun being in Taurus, Jupiter in Virgo. So this is great news for everybody, but particularly the Earth signs or anybody that has planets in Earth signs. That's Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Wonderful news. It's associated with good fortune and many opportunities. Maybe so many because Jupiter is the planet of excess that it might be hard to pick and choose between all these wonderful opportunities. But it is important to keep the broader vision and higher principle in mind. And normally with the Sun aspecting Jupiter, it really is all about the big picture. But Jupiter is in Virgo, and Virgo is about the detail. So what's going to be important with this influence is the forest and the trees, if that makes sense. It's important to see the big picture and the details. Make sure that you have like a well-rounded view of things, because feeling so good, we might forget to look at the detail and just look at the big picture, not think through the consequences because we're feeling so great and making the most of this energy. And it is a time for looking to the future. Also with all this Taurian influence, it is about long-term planning and being practical and sensible, but also enjoying the rewards of that. What would be important would be to write down any thoughts about what's to come or what you want, because this is a time where our intuition is really humming with the Sun sextiling Neptune of yesterday. So it's a time to tap into intuition and listen to those messages and dreams. Tolerance and generosity of spirit are at a peak now as well, with the Sun connecting to Jupiter. So we can take advantage of this by donating time or money to charitable organisations. And this transit has an expansive quality. More after the break.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Dr. Kevin here, and I want to invite you every Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, to join me on the Dr. Kevin Show, where we have a diversity of guests who help you step outside the box, behind the curtain, and see what a load of crap is going on in the world today, so you have more information with which to make better decisions. We'll see you there. Namaste.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Looking for inspiration?
Want to be inspired?
Not sure where to go?
Find Mark and Kim every Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Inspired Living.
Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual.
Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio.
Hi, this is the Astrology Show, and I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox. This week's show, I'm talking about the super new moon in Taurus and how that will be affecting you. Also, there's other planetary influences this week. We had the Sun forming a sextile to Neptune, which is all very ethereal and sensitive, and it's important to pay attention to your dreams. Tomorrow we're going to have one of the most auspicious influences of all, and that's the Sun forming a trine to Jupiter. So it's all about to do with finances and seeing the big picture and feeling expansive and hopeful and optimistic. And then, of course, we have the new moon, which is the Sun and Moon coming together in Taurus, which is about money and finances and self-worth. And then finally, the aspect we have on Saturday is the Sun forming a trine to Pluto. And that's more good news for the Earth signs, or anyone with Earth planets. That's Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And so what that means is the Sun forming a trine to Pluto, it's a very, very powerful energy. And Pluto is the planet for change. It's all about change, making really large changes. So it's like we have something we need to do on a really large scale, and we can go out and we can make those changes, and they can be long-lasting. So as I said in the beginning of the show, this week is a great week to break any bad habits. So if you're looking to break any habit, no matter what sign you are, that's a bad habit, because of course nobody wants to break a good habit, this is the week to do it. Not only with the new moon, the super new moon in Taurus, which is about our self-worth and what we think we deserve, but also this Sun forming a trine to Pluto. Pluto is the planet of change and transformation, and the Sun represents self. So this is an excellent week to make any sort of change or break any sort of bad habit. Now, when the Sun forms a trine to Pluto, it's a no-nonsense time that's best used by grabbing a task by the horns and just getting it done. Pluto is very powerful. Its mythology is Lord of the Underworld, and we can find new ways or new resources that have been there maybe all along, but we haven't recognized them because they've been hidden, or we haven't seen what it is that we've been looking for. But all of a sudden, this week, something comes to light. Something is born or birthed that we might not have seen or noticed before. So any sort of new resources that we come up into contact with can be handy in both the professional and personal realms. So it's like taking a deeper look inside or beyond or underneath and clean up and clear out any long-standing problems we've been dealing with. Because if you remember earlier in the show when I was talking about the new moon is all about new beginnings and a new cycle. But before we can have the new, we need to complete the old. We need to finish things up before we can take a step forward. Now, the Sun forming a trine to Pluto will help us be able to do that. But the Sun forming a trine to Pluto, it's not all about everything out in the open. It's sort of like working behind the scenes. This energy is very potent, extremely potent because of Pluto, and as I said, being Lord of the Underworld. And it's best now to be honest, because Pluto will reveal anything that is dishonest. So if something is happening, it's better to be completely above board. So honesty is the best policy right now, because we're looking for authenticity of emotion and experience, and not just the same old. We're looking for something different. Perception is heightened, making it hard to pull the wool over anyone's eyes at this time. And it is a good time to rededicate ourselves to our goals and ambitions. And I said rededicate because Mercury retrograde, and anything with an RE is great for Mercury retrograde. So that was the planets this week. And now I'm going to go through the weekly horoscopes for each of the signs. Aries. Positive financial news comes through because this week for you is all about money, showing that your hard work and prudence have finally begun to pay off. That is excellent news. Spend time getting better organized this week so that you can take advantage of opportunities coming your way. That is excellent news, and right on the back of the Sun aspects to Jupiter and Neptune and Pluto. If you're a Taurus, your confidence surges now, and the new moon in your sign inspires you to dream big. This is a time to make changes to your personal appearance, and all eyes will be on you. Don't be afraid to take a walk on the wild side. A calculated risk taken now can lead to great things. But of course, don't expect instant results. If you're a Gemini, family bonds are strengthened and perhaps healed too. Choosing to forgive paves the way forward and helps to diminish resentment. Periods of solitude will bring you inner calm and peace this week, with the new moon triggering your 12th house. And that is all about the subconscious mind. So it's very important for you twins to pay attention to your dreams and what they're telling you. Cancer. Mix love with friendship this week. It's a fun time for dates with mutual friends and for getting together with other couples. I love double dating. The new moon encourages you to expand your social circle. You don't have to leave the privacy of your own home anymore. It's all about social networking and reconnecting with people from the past. And Cancer is a sign that loves the past. Leo. The new moon promises progress towards a career ambition, which should also see an improvement in your finances. Yay! You'll need to work hard during these vibes, though. It's a hectic week with lots to learn. That's great. As long as you know the rewards are coming, you are capable of hard work, Leo, as always. And this is a great week for you for career and maybe reviewing something from the past. Maybe something you did previously, a prior job, might come up again, something around that, so be open. Virgo, finding your place in the world means knowing where you belong and where you don't. To this end, the new moon encourages you to travel this week as much as you can and as far away as possible. It's also a great time for publishing. If you do write your memoirs or publish to a blog or even just post to your wall on Facebook, it's a great time. People will be taking notice of what you have to say. If you're a Libra, a nostalgic new moon brings cherished memories to the fore, especially within the family. Celebrate the past this week, but don't set up camp there. It's important to live in the present and to keep moving forward. That is very important for you to remember. Don't get bogged down in the past or what's happened previously. If there's anything that's simmering beneath the surface, let it go. Don't hang on to old baggage. This is a great week to release. If you're a Scorpio, it's all about the romance, as the new moon promises some special, memorable moments with your partner. If you're single, lucky you, because this is a great, great week probably one of the best of the year to start a new relationship. Perhaps a new friend gets closer, and you may discover a new mentor or guide this week as well. If you're a Sagittarius, your workload may be heavy and your responsibilities are growing. But what you need to be doing is focusing on your health, your diet, and your exercise plan. This is a wonderful time to start a new health regime. As boring as that might sound to a freewheeling Sagittarius, it is crucial. The new moon urges you to take better care of yourself if you want to be at your best in your career and your life and everything else. So this is a great time to get in shape, and you, Sagittarius, can break any sort of bad habit this week. Capricorn, this week's new moon inspires you to rediscover the joy in life. The silliest little things will make you laugh and smile, and you'll enjoy indulging your inner child. Try not to take life too seriously for right now. Sometimes you can take things a bit too seriously. Your ruling planet is Saturn. Very serious planet. Aquarius, a home move or a new family situation takes some getting used to, but breaking ties with the past is not easy. But you can do it. The new moon will allow you to move forward. And finally, Pisces. Is there room in your head for anything else? With so much on your mind, you can be forgiven for being distracted this week. You will have a very busy mind, but others will be listening to what you have to say. The new moon might usher in a few busy days, but your partner and close friends will help you chill out. That's it for the astrology show this week. Thanks for joining me. I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox, and I'll catch up with you next week.